straight in, no intro.
Yeah, like
which is like I think the only Marvel movie to do that, right?
Yeah.
That I can think of. Well,
it does have an intro, but it's not like right away.
But what I mean is like you at a theater and then you see the Marvel logo come up and you hear like some noise. It just goes straight into it. 1989.
Yep, and it's
Peggy,
Stark,
Howard,
Hank, and Peggy.
Great to see them.
And it's funny because they're having a conversation, a back and forth. A very good moment, by the way. I love this moment where he's like, where he talks about his wife and he hits him, and then Stark's like, "I didn't say it." Yeah, he's like, "That was me." Yeah. But anyways, the de-aging technology at this point, I don't think it's up to par. There's something off about his face.
I did not notice that there was de-aging at all. So
with what's his name?
With who?
With fucking fuck.
But that's what I'm saying is I think
with Hank is de-aged.
You must have it must be hitting you more because you knew it was a thing. Because I didn't know it was a thing, didn't notice it at all.
Yeah, so what's his name? Hank is de-aged. Like the actor does not look that young anymore. He's
but I did notice once.
Yeah, so if you and if you really look at it, there's parts where like you can see when he's doing emotion. Where you can see
but if you don't know,
it looks good. But like
perfectly.
when he's doing certain things, you're just like something's off about like certain parts. But yeah, I mean it still looks good. It just they definitely get better in time.
Now we get the usual intro, and he's in prison. Scott's in prison fighting Peachy.
Yeah, and it's funny because at first it makes you think he's in like an actual like prison fight, and then like Peachy's like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you."
Yeah.
And you're just like, "Oh, me too, man." Okay,
and then he gets let out, and he meets up with Louise.
Louise, who's probably the best part of this whole movie, dude. He's amazing.
He's like he's just he's a strong element. Like everybody remembers when you think of Ant-Man, you think of him.
The cool thing is, can we talk about how fucking positive of a person he is? Because he sounds so happy while he's talking about all these negative things.
She left me.
She left me.
And my mom died too.
Yeah, and my dad got deported. Dude,
but I got the van.
Yeah. It's like Jesus, dude. Like
he's so hyped about it. I got the van though.
Yeah, like it's so good.
Baskin Robbins.
Yeah, but honestly, like another thing is Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
amazing in this movie. I actually really like.
Who doesn't like Paul Rudd?
Yeah, like dude, Paul Rudd's such a likable guy.
If you don't like Paul Rudd, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So then we go to
Baskin Robbins, and he's taking.
Oh wait! Sorry. Before Baskin Robbins, let's just make it clear: Scott does want to go clean. He genuinely does not want to keep being a thief.
Yeah, because Louis is immediately like, "Hey, I've got like 1,200 jobs for you."
Yeah, and he's just like, "No, I'm going clean," which is why it's important for this Baskin Robbins because he lied.
Yeah, and he's like, "Listen, man, I can find a job." Smash cut to him in Baskin Robbins.
Baskin Robbins, and it's to the dumbest fucking customer service person ever. He's like, "Can I get something hot?" He's like, "Dude, this is ice cream."
He's like, "So you guys have hot pretzel roll?" He's like, "No, we don't have that."
Ice cream, dude. Sorry.
And then the guy says something else. He's like, "No, we don't have that." And he's like, "I'll just have whatever's hot and fresh." He's like, "Dude,
this is ice cream." Like you can tell he's losing his patience, but he's being nice as he can.
And so his boss calls him to the office, and he like turns to another point. He's like, "Could you take care of this idiot? Thanks."
Yeah.
And then he walks over to the office.
By the way, I just want to say this movie does some very smart things that we'll get into here in a second. Okay. At least in my opinion, it does some very smart things. Anyway, so so he's like
Baskin Robbins always
it's a
finds
cool
out.
crime. Yeah, he's like I like that he's like, if you want to like take one of the mango freezies on your way out.
Grab a mango blast on your way out.
And then he does. He takes one on his way out.
He's fucking
and you know what? He still wants to be somewhat clean up to this point. Mm-hmm. He's still not ready to like be on board with it yet.
Yep.
But then he sees his daughter, and she's like, he can't see her as much as he wants to.
Well, this is it. We were skipping ahead a little bit because he goes back to the apartment.
Yeah.
And he walks in, and he's like, I got fired.
Yeah.
He's like, already? And he's like, Baskin Robbins found out? And then the other guy's like, Baskin Robbins don't play, man. Yeah, they don't play.
But it's funny because we do get some good moments with them where they're like, what is that? I can't remember his name, but it's the dude with the accent.
Yeah.
I can't remember what he says, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. So they really push the fact that he's not violent. Mm-hmm. And then we get our introduction of Cross.
Right.
Who?
Well, we get the introduction of Pym going back to the company. And I wrote, this is like the exact opposite in maybe a good way because like when you watch, I had recently watched the Iron Fist TV show. Right?
Yeah.
That first season is like 6 straight episodes of him trying to convince people like, guys, it's me. Like, I own this company or whatever. And this one, Hank Pym shows up and like, yo, what's up, dude? Like, somebody
like, is that Hank?
Somebody literally says like, I thought you were dead, but they just let him in.
Yeah,
just like,
and then he's like, can I get some ID? He's like, I would think that's enough.
There's a picture, and it's like, it doesn't really look like him because he's older with a beard, but he's like, okay.
He's like, oh, sorry, sir.
I was like, it's nice to not have them dwell on it, but at the same time, they're maybe a little bit too lax on it because it's like, this guy kind of looks like him. Come in.
So anyways, we get to meet Cross and Hope as well.
Yes.
And you can tell right off the bat, like, obviously there's some kind of, like, tenseness between Hope and him. Like, she is playing a part and she is playing, like, undercover, but there's still some, like, some tension between them.
Pure, intense hatred.
I wouldn't say that, but... And then you get Cross, and I'm going to say this movie's smart, right? Because right off the bat, Cross just seems evil. Right off the bat. And it's on purpose. It's on purpose, right? Because... it's amazing. I think it's so smart to have right off the bat. There is no build-up. There's no twist. There's nothing. Right off the bat, Cross is the bad guy.
Right.
And now what makes it so much more amazing is now his decisions from here on out, it just elevates him more and more. Like, where he's just like, okay, now bring in the human subjects. Like, and shit like that. It's just like, it's smart. It's a good way to, like, they set up your villain. You already know who the villain is. And now you're seeing him do his, like, villainous things. Like, the part where he where he talks about the Ant-Man suit.
Right,
and that's where we're at.
That's where we're at. He's like, but people said it was
a legend.
Yeah, legend. Tales to Astonish. Nice little reference there.
Yes.
For people who don't know, Tales to Astonish was a Marvel comic way back in the day, which might have been where Ant-Man debuted, possibly. Maybe that could be. It could just be a one-off.
It could be in the same thing. It could also
be. But anyways.
And then he reveals the yellow jacket without revealing the yellow jacket. Mm-hmm. We know it's the yellow jacket, but you don't get a nice clear look at it, the suit, which is smart in my opinion. You do see it in tiny form, but you don't get a good look at what it looks like, which is great. And
he has the one guy who he talks to, and the guy's like, "This is imagine what our enemies could do with this."
Yeah.
And his name was Frank, and I just wrote, like literally every weapon that has ever been invented, Frank. Every weapon.
It's true.
Like, literally anything that's ever, like, the atomic bomb. Our enemies are always going to get whatever you make. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true. But you also have, like, there's always that one moral ground character, always. Yeah, and he's just like, but those are the guys that usually end up losing anyways because they don't have the fucking money to buy the weapons. But anyways,
I don't know. Just fuck Frank. Fuck Frank. He deserved what he got.
But it's funny, though, because the one thing you don't go over is Frank's like, I mean... is this it, kind of? And, like, he's like, oh, you're not impressed, Frank? Like, Frank just completely
I'd love to talk to you more about that in the bathroom when I kill you.
I do want to talk about that, right? Where he does, like, come here for a second, where he does, like, the hand thing, right? Where he does, like, the hand thing, just so people know what
gentle.
he does. Right? It does come off gentle, but then he gets, like, a tight squeeze. Yep. And that's important because that does play to a scene later. Which I love that they do. Honestly, this movie's smarter than some people give it credit for. For those who don't know, by the way, Edgar Wright actually started directing and writing this movie.
He was signed on to direct it, and he did still write it.
Yeah, he didn't fully write it. They still use a lot of his stuff, not fully though. You can tell what's his and what's not.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah.
He's a co-writer for this.
He's part of it.
Hank's like, I'm talking to Hope, and he's like, I think I found a guy, and then it's Scott at the birthday party.
At the birthday party, yeah. And can we talk about fucking how adorable Cassie is, dude? She's adorable. I love her character. He gives her the gift, and she's like, "It's so ugly. I love him." Yeah, and I'm just like, "Oh my god."
Also, she's like, "I'm gonna go tell mommy you're here." He's like, "Oh, you don't have to do that." She comes back. She's like, "Mommy's so happy you're here. She choked on her drink."
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh shit!" God. And Paxton, like, they give off like a douchey vibe, but he's really not like a douche. He's really, honestly, he's just he's looking for Alfred.
And Scott's like, "Look. Honestly, your fiance is an asshat."
Yeah.
And then he's like, language, we're at a children's party. He's like, oh, what? I said hat. I was like, what the hell?
But yes, then we got a nice...
adorable with his dog.
Yes, yeah. But then we got a nice look at Cross's true nature, where he fucks Frank up. Like, he shrinks him down, and he's just... Clearly, Frank is still alive, and he just wipes him down and flushes him down.
No, he's not alive.
Yes,
he's a pile of mush.
No, you can literally see him pulsing like a heartbeat.
No, that's not. He's
yes,
not alive.
Bro, 100%.
He's not alive. That's not what that is.
Bro, I promise that's like a heartbeat. I promise, yeah.
No.
I will rewatch the scene right now.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's pulsating. He's not alive. He's a pile of mush.
It's made out to look like a heart. Even the shape is literally like, that's all that's left.
No, it's not.
It's like he shrunk it. It's like he shrunk it, right? But everything like... I'm telling you, it looks like I've always seen it that way.
This is an outrage.
It's not. I'm telling you. It's meant to look like he's still alive.
And then we get Luis's first story.
Yeah, well, you finally get Scott who caves in. He's like, tell him.
Yeah. So then he tells him,
and then you get like probably one of the best parts.
The best thing about this is the choice to have it be his voice for everyone, but they're lip syncing to his voice. Yeah. That's what makes this.
It does. It's amazing. Concept. The whole thing's amazing.
Love it, dude.
His storytelling is just fast and it's so good. It's funny because he's like, what is that he says? He's like, so this girl, right, that I know. He's like, I saw her. He's like, I touched her boobies back in high school. He's like, that's the wrong details.
Wrong details.
He's like, oh,
sorry.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. He just gets so excited.
And the thing I love though is like, it is such a great like comedic device, but at the same time, they play into it later with Hank and how he like fed into that. But also just like some movies, they would just be like, oh, I got this job. Let's go do it. Yeah. It's kind of nice to see like where he got the information from. Even though it is also like a very funny scene, it's also kind of cool like to see exactly how that traveled to him.
Yeah.
Scott is really fucking cocky, by the way. Like he's super cocky when he gets out and he starts doing. He's like, they're like, oh, well, if the alarm goes off, I got your back, man. He's like, it won't.
Yeah,
I'm insane.
So the setup leading up to this, the setup super smooth. It goes. So here's the thing, right? So, again, it's a smart movie choice because everything goes smooth. Everything goes exactly to plan. We're talking like the setup leading up to it. Scott, like...
MacGyvering his way through the building.
And by the way, R.I.P. Scott's intelligence because a lot of these people don't know, okay, is Scott is a very smart character. He is. He's supposed to be smart, right? Mm-hmm. When we get to him and in the Wasp, dude, his intelligence gets dumbed down hard. Like I said, R.I.P.'s intelligence. It's like completely nerfed in the second movie. But anyway, so not only is he smart, he's physical as shit. Like he slightly parkours up. Yeah, he shuts it down and like
you can tell he's such a beast. That's why that's why Pim has been watching him.
Yeah. And then he does the fingerprint thing and he does the little
blows the door off. And he's like, this door is made from the same steel as like the Titanic. And they're like, is that bad? And Louis is like, yeah, man, it killed DiCaprio.
Yeah. And then he's like, did not kill the old lady.
Whatever. Yeah, but she threw the necklace in the ocean.
Yeah. But anyways, again, Scott's intelligence. Not only does he set up for the fucking the bolts not to smash into the wall and make the noise, but he also puts the air mattress. So like the frame, like everything he does is meticulously well thought out up to that point.
Badass.
And he gets into the door and then he's like, "There's nothing here."
It's a motorcycle suit.
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck is this?
What the fuck is this?"
Yeah,
and he takes it though.
Yeah, but he takes it.
And rest in peace, poor little lamb. Experiment number like 576 or whatever that was. Bring it in. She's like, no, don't do that. And he's like, no, I'm gonna kill it.
Yeah,
no, I'm going to.
And this is where you start to see where he's becoming unhinged little by little because he's just like he's trying to get to his end goal. He doesn't care what happens. If you get in his way, again, it's like he's a bad guy. He's not fully set up evil yet, but you get to see his transformation into the villain. Like you see it because he's desperate for this goal that he has set up. Which is great. He literally is just like, like you say,
bring in the next one.
I don't give a fuck. And like you can tell, Hope's like she doesn't agree with this shit.
Like, please, no.
Yeah, she's like, what the fuck? But he doesn't care.
Yeah, because he literally says, she's like, weren't we testing on like mice? He's like, what's the difference?
Yeah, he's like, who cares?
So he's clearly already a sociopath to begin with. Like he is getting worse as the movie goes on. But he's
already like almost there. Yeah, we're at the end of like his turn.
First transformation in the bathtub. What?
It's so fucking okay.
Oh,
so I love
Luis's
this movie.
Dick?
No. So I do love this movie. I do, right? And I do still hold it higher than I think a few of the movies because I already ranked the second phase. Here's where I have a problem with this fucking movie. I love it to death, but the way it's explained is you have an increase in density, you keep your strength, which means your weight should somewhat stay the same because you're increasing the density, but they're saying it's supposed to stay the same, right? They even show a couple scenes where his weight stays the fucking same. He literally, when he falls and he hits the tile on the bathroom, he cracks that shit, right?
Right.
But then literally the next fucking scene, he falls on the DJ like CD and it shit doesn't even like record scratch. He just kind of stays on it and there's no problem, right? Like that's not how that would work. And then like meanwhile he gets carried by an ant and again that's not how that should work. Like keep your shit consistent because there's another scene later on where again the weight thing does come into play. I can't remember what it is. I wrote it down somewhere in the notes, so when we get to it, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
But it's so annoyingly inconsistent that it pisses me off and almost takes away from the movie. Because again, like, dude, the way he breaks that tile, he barely falls.
I've never thought about this ever.
Yeah, but if you pay attention, but it's supposed to be, though. It's a big thing. They literally make it a big thing because he's like, when he explains his suit and what it does, and then all
Magic Trinky suit. Moving on.
Yeah, anyways.
It's whatever they want it to be, really.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but it's so annoying.
Yeah, I get it. So they also I really don't like this trope of like mentors and like people that they train of just being like
evil.
What? No. I'm saying like they'll just like throw them in and be like what? Like throw them into the most ridiculous situation. Like Scott could have just easily just drowned and died right there.
Yeah, it's
like,
true.
That would have been
it's
it.
True.
He's like, well, he'll probably
he literally says trial by fire.
What if he just got killed?
Yeah.
Like what if that was it? Like you can't do that. Like
find out in the next episode of What If. No, I'm just kidding. But, like no, for real. Like what the fuck?
But they set up I like that they set up the whole like party apartment. Whatever that he lives next to earlier. I like that so that kind of comes back into play. And it also bothers me. I really hate the other thing of like when you get a movie of somebody like gaining superpowers or getting something that does super things, and they're like, "I don't want this. Oh, that scared me. I don't want this."
Yeah,
nobody would ever find a suit that shrinks you down to that size
and be like,
no matter what you go through, you wouldn't be like, "No, I'm putting it back."
Yeah, and he goes to put it back, and Hope you find out later, but Hope calls the cops on him. And he gets arrested.
But dude, no one is doing that. I don't care who. I don't care.
No, you would try to sell it
female,
if anything, especially
if
him,
dog,
especially looking for money. Especially him looking for money.
Yeah, sure, sell it.
That's what I'm saying. He would be like, this shit shrinks. Like shit, he would end up eventually running it across and selling that shit to him.
Yeah, exactly.
That would make for an amazing What If episode.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it really would.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. that shit bothers me. I hate
so
that.
anyways, he gets arrested, and then he finally meets Hank because it's his
masquerading
lawyer.
as his lawyer, covering the camera with ants.
Yep, and then
cool.
which is
and
it's cool, but
what do you mean?
Like, there's no way nobody would notice that. You know what I mean? Like people would be watching watching the lawyer. You know what I mean? That kind of doesn't make sense.
Sure.
So then he talks to him.
I still do like that they're kind of setting up the concept that like there's more to Ant-Man as a character than just having He's not just shrink big and small.
Yeah, he has his ants.
He's got the ants can do so much,
which are amazing. Yeah,
so
and it really goes into detail later.
Yeah, they make it such an extensive power. Just the ants is a huge thing on its own.
So then he ends up back in his cell, and
the ants like form numbers and are counting down.
Cool.
For him.
It's cool, right? But I feel like it's a little ridiculous because he put on that suit.
How fast he gets it in.
Dumb.
It's like 2 or 3 more seconds and it would have been believable. So it's not that crazy. Like I've seen worse.
Especially since he hesitates for a solid like 2 seconds. Yeah. And it's just like, I get that he can slip the suit on quick, but I don't know about that.
But Scott's also just like a burglar, and they're like, put a perimeter. He's got it out. He's escaped.
Yeah.
It's like they're acting like a fucking serial killer.
It's true.
It's like true. They're going crazy. I mean, obviously they have
to
track him down.
Like this was probably gonna be number one. Like
they have to track him down and shit.
Like
he's an escaped prisoner, but it's not serious.
I get it. But they're like, get the execution line ready when you see a fire. Like, it's a little bit too much. But
get the president on the line.
So then, Scott ends up getting really tired as he's escaping. Okay, actually, wait, sorry. There's one thing I did forget to write about my notes. You cannot deny visually, okay, the parts where he shrunk down are so believable. Like visually, it looks really good.
I think they could have been better, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah, they look, dude. When he's on the side of the cop car and shit, like, no way.
There's a lot of good, but there is something about it that also feels a little bit too. Something's just off. I think it could have been a little bit better.
But here's the thing, right? I thought about it being off, but I think that's on purpose because like. It's almost, I know what you're saying because it does throw you off, but it's meant to throw you off because now that I think about it, there's an article that I read that tells you why it looks visually the way it does, and it's supposed to be like because when you're looking like up at things, so they're trying to get it so it looks slightly distorted. I don't know how to explain it, damn it.
I know what you mean, but it's not just that. There's an element to it that just like it could have. I don't know. I can't probably work. I do love the way it looks, but I do think there was something
I think it holds up extremely well. But anyways,
it holds up well. I'm just saying like it looks good. There's something I can't even put my finger on it, but regardless, it looks good. It looks good.
Anyway, so he passes out. He ends up back at
Hank also at some point says like, I believe that everybody deserves a second chance, Scott. Not Darren, though. Fuck that guy. Yeah, kill him. Yeah. Steal his shit and kill him.
It's true.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So Scott wakes up.
And then Hope literally gives no fucks about Scott whatsoever. She hates him, right? Yeah. Which goes to my next note where... So they end up growing a relationship between them. Mm-hmm. It's a little too unbelievably fast. Because she literally says in that speech, well, we went from having weeks to days, right? And then they go through this training and they make it seem like they're training for like weeks, and they're not. They're training for literally hours to a day tops, maybe 2 days.
No, it's definitely like at least like 4 or 5 days.
That's
they
what,
have
right?
Like, they have 4 or 5 different outfits.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
so
right?
it's different days.
But then she literally said before that, she's like, we're down to days. Like, she's making it seem like it's down to like 2 to 3. But it's at least almost a week before this. Like, because there's a lot that goes on before the final heist. There's a lot. They go through the training. He goes and sees his daughter. Like, there's a lot that goes on. So I wish they wouldn't have done that line because it does make it seem like it gets sped up. And again, their relationship building goes a little. It goes from 0 to 100 real quick.
It worked for me because I don't think she hates Scott. In fact, I think she probably likes Scott from the jump, but she hates what she really hates is that Hank is picking him over her. That's how she feels about it.
Yeah, that's what she feels,
but she likes Scott as a person. I think off jump, she likes Scott.
I actually do think she has a genuine hate for him. But she's
making herself hate him because of what Hank is doing to her.
So that's what I think it is. I think she has a genuine hate for him because she's jealous.
But it's not genuine though. She's making herself. Yeah, it's forced because she wants to like him, but she's like, fuck this guy. He's taking what I should be doing. We shouldn't be messing around with this bullshit. Like, this is important.
Yes, which makes sense. So anyways, so he goes downstairs and
he's like, Scott, I need you to do this. And he's like, yeah, that's great. My days of breaking into places and stealing shit are over.
Well, yeah, you skip because there's a part that is really fucking funny where he's like, where he literally goes through everything, right? Mm-hmm. Like Scott asks him, like, who are you? Why am I here? Blah, 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 right? And they go through all that, right? And then so they go through all that, and then he's like, do you have any more questions? He's like, yeah, who are you? Why am I here? Like, like everything. It's so fucking funny. Like, he's just like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, he's like, I want you to break into a place and steal some shit.
But yeah, that shit makes me laugh because he's like, yes, my days of breaking into shit and stealing things are done. He's
over.
Like,
I need you to break into a
place.
He's
like, what do you do? Yeah, he's like, I need. It's so good, dude. I still love that part. It's so good.
So then he starts explaining the plan to him of like the heist, and Scott's like, our first move, call the Avengers. This should be our first move. And then you see though, Hank hates the Avengers, and he hates Stark. Tony. He hates Stark, yeah.
But here's the thing, right? It doesn't go both ways because clearly Stark actually likes Hank.
Yeah, or he had a respect for him.
He had a respect for him, right? But no, Hank's just like, you mention that fucking name in this house again, and I'll fucking murder you. Like, he hates him, like, with a passionately, like, oh my god. He's like, you think that they are going to get my technology?
But think about it though, because Stark was probably lobbying to have the Ant-Man suit used as a weapon.
He might have been.
He was still because he would hate Starks because weapons dealing.
Yeah, he might have been right. Against that shit. He's against that shit now, right? And like, I wonder if one of those nukes or one of those missiles that were fired, it could have been Stark's without us knowing. Like, I guarantee there's a small detail in there somewhere that could be like Stark's logo. But he fucking hates Stark with a passion.
So that's a good explanation for them not calling Avengers. And anyway, this is not an Avengers level threat to begin with, but
no, it's not. But it's funny, right? Because then we have a moment that's fucking adorable with Cassie because they're sitting around the dinner table. She's like, "Are you looking for my dad?"
You get Hank like losing his shit on Hope. He's like, "No, you are not taking that fucking suit."
Is that in that part?
Yeah, it's in that same part.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is that part. You're right. He like yells at her. He's like very adamant. You're right. He's like, "No, yeah," and you don't know why. We also missed the line where she's like, yeah, your mom died in that unfortunate, like, whatever he says it is. I can't remember what it is. She's like, it's bad enough that you lie.
That's not, that's a little bit.
Is that a little bit later?
That's when they start training.
Yeah. You're right, because they're not training. But anyways, so then you have Cassie sitting around the dinner table with, like, Paxton and the mom, and it's so fucking funny. She's like, are you looking for my dad? And he's like,
hope you don't find him.
Yeah, and then she's like, I hope you don't find him. Like, dude, she's so fucking, she's amazing. Adorable. I love her.
So they're training.
Yeah.
They begin the training, trying to get him better and better. And there's a point where they're doing the hand-to-hand combat training, and Hank walks up, and he's...
Oh, wait, we skipped.
What?
We skipped a couple parts during this training.
What?
We skipped Cross finally succeeds.
Oh, okay.
He finally succeeds in shrinking the goat, and they add more to his evilness because he's like holding the goat, and he's like,
the shit
and he's
out
like,
fuck that bitch,
just flicked it, and the goat literally is like uncomfortable, and he's just like, okay, let's do this, like, and it's just like, and then. And then the training.
And then while they're at one point when they're very first starting the hand-to-hand training, this is when he comes up and they have that line about his mom. But he comes up and he's dressed like Rick from Rick and Morty. He has the blue shirt and the white lab coat. He literally looks like Rick.
Yeah,
I swear. I was like, what the hell is this cosplay ass bullshit?
Yeah, I didn't notice that. But anyways, this is
they have that line about his mom. Yeah, and she's like, you're fucking full of shit.
But it's so funny because he's like, he throws the punch, and she's like, you don't know how to throw a punch. He's like, go ahead, throw a punch, and without hesitation, before he even gets the second line out, she fucking
folds him like a lawn chair.
Yeah, it's so good though. And she's like, bro, she had literally zero hesitation.
Yeah.
But throughout that, you have little moments here and there. You have character building in between all three of them.
He slips in, don't mess with the regulator. Don't fuck with that.
Yeah, it's not just that. He burns the Avengers hard, actually. We did skip over that because he says, he's like, the Avengers are probably dropping cities out of the sky.
Yeah, that was the other reason he was like, let's not call the Avengers.
Yeah, I was like, yikes.
He clearly doesn't fuck with anything that they're doing.
Yeah, and then Hank also gives him a little speech in that whole moment. I can't remember the exact speech. But like Scott turns around, he's like, that's a really good speech. But like I can't remember what he says, but it is a good speech.
Yeah.
Then we're hearing, I was like, oh damn! I was like, this is actually kind of good.
Yeah. So this is the point where Scott starts to meet the ants for the first time, and it scares the shit out of him. So he grows back, and I'm thinking like, damn, he just killed like 600 ants.
Yes, right. Like, bro, I literally wrote right here. I was like there's no way.
Once he gets connected to them, he had to be like, damn, I like committed genocide basically when I did that. And he does it like twice.
Yeah, he does it twice. He like grows in and he like, dude, like half the fucking
dead.
they're dead. There's no saving that, bro.
No.
Like, no, yeah, I literally wrote the same thing. I was like, yeah, he just fucking mass murder.
But at the same time, he's supposed to be like treating them like pets and like have a relationship with them, and he just fucked everyone. Paul Rudd got ripped for this movie.
Yeah, he did. He's in good shape,
patting himself down. You got it's the classic Marvel abs scene where they're like just standing there, looking around or doing
and it's a good way for them to showcase how much.
Yeah.
And then they're fighting
discs.
again.
Well, they show he's like, I invented these discs, so they set up the
oh
discs
yeah, sorry,
yeah,
shrink and grow. But then they're fighting again, and I love that they do it this way. When they're fighting, he does hurt her, and he's like, "Oh, did that punch hurt?" Instead of being like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry," the typical trope. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "Did I get you?" And then she's like, "Fucking," she like whoops his ass again.
Yep.
But I love that he basically treats her as his equal. Like he just fucking and he hits her solid too.
Then we get him trying to control the ants.
Yes.
And her coming in and being like, "Fuck this bullshit. Look at this real quick."
Yeah, she like loses complete control over it.
Yeah, but here's my problem with this is she does it right, and it's supposed to be this crazy moment because like the ants cover the light. And the room starts to go dark.
Yeah.
But then after she releases them, it cuts to a different angle of her, and you see the room is entirely lit by the sun.
Yes, it's entirely.
So why did it start getting dark when she covers the light? I was like, that's a weird.
It's
must have gotten lost in the editing
somewhere. Yeah, it's an editing little thing.
It's a continuity thing they missed. I guess.
And now here's where you can actually start to see some development between Scott and Hope. Is they're both sitting in the car, and he's like, he didn't choose you because
I'm expendable.
I'm expendable. You're not. He's like, he prefers to lose the whole fight than he would losing you. And so like, you can tell that hits her. And then that's where she's like, I didn't know you had a daughter.
Yeah.
And blah, blah, blah. And she's like, all you have to do is clear your mind and focus on wanting to see your daughter and blah, blah, blah. And he controls it. And he gets him to fucking spin the little penny.
Yep. And then they go back in and Hank tells them what happened.
Yeah.
And I just don't fucking understand why. I do not understand why he never told her. It makes no sense. It makes no sense why he would never tell her.
So it does make sense because she literally says a line that says, okay, so if you're good at reading people, this is definitely meant to be read if you're good at reading people because she says it's not your fault. You can literally see as he's telling the story, he's like, his emotions are like, he blames himself. He blames himself because his shit wasn't working. He could have, trust me, there's no way in hell he didn't obsess over what could have gone different after this.
Yeah, for
sure.
He
literally disappeared for 2 weeks, and I guarantee that's because he was trying to find ways to shrink himself and still save her. And
that's what he's been doing his entire life.
Yeah, his entire life. Okay, so you can see it's guilt. And she sees that he's guilty. And she flat out, the first thing she says, it's not your fault.
Okay.
She made her choice.
Right.
And then she hits him with, why didn't you just tell me?
And he's like, I did it to protect you.
No, he's like, it's not to protect her. He's like, I didn't want to lose you too. Because he already knew what he was going to do was he was going to obsess over shrinking. And he probably she would have been down to helping him. And he would have been scared of losing her. And then his guilt with all that, I'm telling you, that's exactly what it is.
But I feel like there's not enough there to it.
No, I'm telling you, there's enough there where he felt like he was going to get her involved somehow.
Maybe.
I'm telling you, I promise you that's what it is. Like, I guarantee it. And not just that he felt guilty to the point where he felt like he blamed himself.
Yeah.
So had he told her, he felt like she would have blamed him too, and then they would have been disconnected as well. I'm telling you, it's there. I promise you.
But then I just don't like that he says, to protect you, because he should have said, to protect myself. Like, that's selfish of him to not tell her because he's scared of what she would say.
Yeah, kind of.
That's
but
the way
at the same time, but
so that's the only thing that bothered me is the typical,
that goes back to his personality.
To protect you bullshit.
That goes back to his personality where he's like, he's low key like narcissistic because like he has that very like playboyish attitude at some points in this movie. He does like, But yeah, so
Avengers
this is where their relationship starts spending. Yes, and then Scott, they'll just pass over this. Scott's like, "Oh, this is so nice," and he's like, "Did I ruin the moment?"
This is a great moment.
Yeah, and he's like, "Did I ruin it?" And then he's like, "Yes, you did." Like,
I'm gonna make some tea.
Yeah, it's so good.
Avengers headquarters. Very easy to forget that Falcon is in this movie. Very awesome that he is.
Yeah, I don't forget because there's a line that they say in Civil War later.
Oh yeah. He's like,
so I
beat
don't
you last time.
because
It's not
I love
gonna happen
that.
again
Yeah.
or whatever.
So Scott has to break into what he thinks is
just
warehouse.
this old fucking shield warehouse
because
they have old
obviously
blueprints.
they have it hidden. Yeah, they have older blueprints. It's not just that. They obviously don't know it's Avengers. No, I'm pretty sure not everybody knows it's Avengers headquarters.
No, but also just because
Yeah,
Hank is going off of whatever old ass files that he has. He's assuming, why would they have gone back to this shitty thing and made it into this massive location?
So here's my thing, right? So this movie, besides.
Your mic.
Sorry. Okay, anyways. So, sorry, my thumb is like killing me. I like twisted it wrong or something. Anyways, so here's where this is a problem. This is one of the bigger problems in the movie, besides the inconsistency with the shrinking, is had they not ever mentioned the Avengers, even with them dropping the city, them having to come break into the Avengers, this could have been a complete movie on its own without having to be in the MCU. Literally, the only reason that this even becomes part of the MCU is because he goes in the warehouse he just happens to be breaking into is Avengers. This literally could have been a complete side movie,
right?
And Ant-Man would have never been part of the Avengers. Like, the only thing that ties it in is because this little mini heist ends up being in the Avengers.
So what are you saying?
I'm just saying, like, this movie could have not been part of like the MCU. And
what are you saying? Is that a good thing or bad thing? What are you saying?
I don't know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that Avengers part is so it's just shoehorned in. It's like it's just forced in there, and it kind of does ruin.
I think it flows very nicely. Honestly,
I feel like they said you guys need to tie the Avengers in this somehow, and this is what they chose. I just still feel that way. I do. I feel like they didn't have to. Like, literally, this could have been a complete standalone movie. I would actually say
it's not the Avengers. It's actually because they already knew what they were doing in Civil War. It's to set up. It's entirely to set up Civil War. I mean,
that's possibly
That's not entirely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a huge setup. It's the whole reason that he even is in Civil War.
Yeah.
And the after credit scene, which we'll get to. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pops up because Falcon like spots him with the glasses, and he's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Ant-Man."
Yeah.
He's like, "What?"
Yeah.
And he's like,
"Oh, you're Falcon. I'm a big fan of you," or whatever.
He's like, "What?" He's like, "Well, you haven't heard me." And then he goes,
"Oh, of course you'd never heard of me."
No, you wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't
heard of me.
And the way he delivers that line is perfect.
Yeah.
The way it's just fantastic, and this fight is really fucking cool as well. I love this fight because
yes, except for one awkward part. Which you can tell, like, they just told Falcon to just reach out and grab something.
Right.
That part right there is kind of Well, because he literally is just like, it's so fake looking. He's just like...
I just like that it's not a super one-sided fight. That,
no.
Ant-Man should be able to shit on him, but because of his tech, he can kind of track him. And he uses different techniques
Again,
to kind of
back
get
to
him
the
grow
amazing
back.
visualness, because, like, you see where he's small. Like, them, like... It's so weird because if you notice, there's a lot of cuts in this movie, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of cuts in this specific part.
Sure.
But they're cuts that make sense because
not Quantum of Solace, though.
No. But they're cuts that make sense because it's like you're seeing his perspective as opposed to Falcon's perspective. So it makes sense. But visually, like when he's like doing certain parts, I'm just like, this looks so fucking good.
Yep.
And like, okay, so I realized something. I am a sucker for when you shrink something. And then you compare it to the real world,
right?
Because that's part of the reason I love Toy Story 3 is one of my favorite tie-in movie video games. I love when they shrink something.
The kids.
That movie's okay, but
I love. You're a freak.
No, it's a good movie, but it doesn't hold up as well as you want it to.
I haven't watched it in a while. I really should though. Anyway,
So like you said,
make
it's
sure
not a one-sided
Cap never
fight.
Finds out about this.
Yes, that's amazing.
Which I love. So there's something. The thing about Darren Cross.
Wait, before you go that, okay? This is going back to Hank's slightly narcissistic personality, right? Because he yells at
Scott,
right? He's like, you shouldn't have done this, and then like before Scott pulls the thing out. Scott pulls the thing out, slams it down. They're like, oh, you got it. And he looks at it, he's like, Hank is like, I was good, wasn't I? Like he's talking about like shit, right? And then Scott goes, Scott's like, yeah, I did good too. And then Hank's like, yeah, let's not dwell on the past. And he's just, like, that's going right back to his like narcissistic, where he's like, he's okay to praise himself, but then he's like, fuck you, Scott.
Fuck it.
Anyway, so then.
But I was gonna say, Darren, he's not the greatest villain. Like he's
not
weak,
the greatest villain.
But there is something there that you can start to around here. You start to see like how betrayed, like his whole thing is he feels so betrayed by Hank.
Yes.
This is what I mean. That Hank didn't stick with him, and he felt like his mentor abandoned him.
Yeah.
And there's something there, but they just didn't hit on it well enough, and they didn't go deep enough into it. They didn't portray it well enough.
Yes.
And so it doesn't hit the way it could have. He could have been a much better villain. Instead, he just becomes kind of one-dimensional, like, oh,
typical.
You left me, and now I'm insane. It's like they could have done a little bit of a better job with that.
Going back though to that scene. Again, this is where the movie is very smart. If you're good at reading people, this is because Darren has a tell,
right?
And he does that same thing to Hank. And he later on even admits in the fucking movie, he does that thing where he sticks his hand out and he puts it on his shoulder, and he's like, he does it again, and he even later on admits, I was there to kill you that night.
Yeah.
And that's literally what his tell, where he's gonna kill somebody, because that's how he kills Frank too. Is where he puts his hand, and then he literally,
he knew Hope was there,
and
so
then he realized Hope was there. But yes, he was there to kill, and he has that tell, and like, oh, it's so good though.
So then they're like, well, now we're fucked. He's like tripling security. How are we gonna do this? We need extra people. And Scott's like, well, I've got some people.
And Hank's like, not those three morons.
Not those three. He says, not those three wombats.
Yeah. He's like, nope. And then what happens? Yes. That's what ends up happening. They're there.
Straight there, and he's like, well, we got you guys. Luis, you'll be doing this, you'll be this. He's like, Luis, you're in the system. He's like, I'm in the system? I'm in the system? The system? I'm in the system?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you're in the system. He's like, the system? It's so good.
And then he's like, I'm thinking about my character. I'm thinking like, maybe I should do like some whistling, right?
Yeah, he's like, no whistling.
No.
Yeah.
Please stop.
But it's good though, right? Because then he's like, okay, well, I'm about to show you can't get scared. It's crazy. He's like, you can't get scared. He's like, me? You get scared? And then then he shrinks himself, and he's like, the one guy's like, he's like, it's the work of the gypsies.
Yeah. But at first, to be fair, Luis at first was like, okay, all right, okay. He seems like invisible. Like, where are you at? And then he gets on his shoulder, and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he runs out, and then just cuts it. It literally just cuts it. And they're all sleeping in the living room. And he's like,
because he gave him half his Xanax and described the signs of the suit to him. So and then we're in. Hank and Hope. What?
I accidentally wrote Hank as Honk. It just threw me off. I was like,
Hank and Hope. Hank and Hope are going on with Darren into the thing, and he's like, well, I've got these representatives of Hydra here to make the purchase.
He's like, don't worry, they're not the same. They're not the same,
because Hydra's dead now.
You get the unveiling of him to the character where he's like. Where he's basically just like, yeah, bitch.
That's right. I knew everything that was going on at all times. Get shit on.
But he does it like such a cocky way, dude.
Yep. And during this, obviously, Scott's doing his shit, breaking in, shutting things down. Luis is knocking people out. Yeah. doing his whistle. He's like, oh yeah, boss man told me to come secure the area, so I'm securing the area. He's like, I'm the boss. And then,
okay, boom.
Yeah. There's also during this, they're out in the van and they have to try to distract the cops so that Hank can get in.
Yep.
And they steal the car, and then also when they accidentally honk the horn.
That's funny because the reason I wrote honk on accident is because right before that sentence I wrote honk. It gives away.
So then they find him and they're like banging on the door. He's like, we gotta finish it. And then they open the door. He's like, listen, a black guy looked exactly like me, knocked us out and tied us up with his van. Yeah. And they're like, you fucking idiots, get out of there.
I'd like real quick going back to when Ant-Man's getting to that server room. Mm-hmm. I love that they make that look like a city.
Yeah,
like he stands top of the building.
The visual, it's like the glowing of it as well.
Yeah, it's so cool. I actually really like that part.
Hope says to Darren or whatever, she's like, Darren, the particles are also your brain. This isn't you.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, see,
he's not using the suit. He hasn't used
the suit, but I think it's because he's around it. But then so what?
That's
other
not
people.
A thing. Yeah, that's not a thing.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't understand.
I think that was again another thing where maybe he had supposed to have used. Maybe there's like a thing of him testing the suit that they cut.
Did the cut? Yep.
Yeah. There has to be something like that because that line makes no sense. But.
But to go back real quick, Hydra's not as wiped away as you think because they're an Ant-Man.
They're wiped away. It's just like these are people that were a part of Hydra. Hydra isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah.
He's just like, these are evil people, basically, that used to be for Hydra.
Yeah.
Now they're helping me.
Yeah.
Basically. Hydra's not really a thing, but.
So they almost failed the laser grid. He literally
very close.
By dude.
Yep.
Seconds.
And then he gets trapped because Darren knew what was coming.
Cross knew all along.
And what is it? So there's So they use the ants, or he bursts out and he uses the ants to like stop the hammer on the gun, which was so cool.
Yeah, he didn't use it. What's her name?
Was it Hope?
Hope did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were about to shoot Scott. This is after they've been fighting. They were about to shoot Scott, and then Hope put it on, and she stopped it.
Yeah, it was just such a great use of that as well, to pull the hammer back.
Yeah.
And then we get Scott kind of like running through, and he's running on the gun as it's firing.
Yep. I love that whole scene. City. Yep. Yeah, that model city scene is so cool.
Great.
You can't tell me that's visually amazing. Is amazing.
Yeah. And the way all the sound is like dropped out for him.
Yep. Great. So here's where I go back to. This is why the inconsistency pisses me off with the whole thing, because with the shrinking, Hank has a whole tank in his pocket.
Right.
That shit should not work that way. Like, I'm telling you. Like, I know.
No. Oh my god.
Dude, I'm telling you. I'm not overthinking it. I'm telling you, it's inconsistent. It's literally plot armor. That's what it is.
How is that inconsistent? Because
he's still shrinking it down with the atoms, and the way that atoms works, they explain in the movie. It just. You basically keep what you are. It just makes you more dense. You still keep your weight.
The weight. Density.
Yeah, it was just saying. He had a fucking tank in his pocket. That's not how it should have worked. That's what I mean. And you can tell it's a problem because I guarantee
until we get to Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I know, because it's worse. Because then you have this is what I'm saying. Like, it sucks because I guarantee you Edgar Wright wrote it one way, and then when this new director came in and the new writer came in, you can tell this is where it starts to flop. It would have
fucking sucked if they had stuck to the density thing, though. That would
yes and no.
Then
because
you can't do any of this creative ass cool shit. I mean, that's
yes
the best part of
because
Ant-Man.
I guarantee you they would have found ways around it. The comics finds ways around it. Although I don't think it's like that exactly in the comics either, because it's not.
I don't know.
I think they should have never done it that way.
I prefer, just leave that line out.
And they should have left that whole line out.
Just have it be what it is. We don't need.
Anyway, so he uses the tank. To escape.
But Luis, I just want to point out, is a fucking beast. Like, he's actually he's knocking people out left and right. Like, he saves Scott.
He saves Scott.
Like, he's actually, you think he's just like this comic relief, like sidekick.
Yeah, but no, he actually helps.
He's throwing hands.
Yeah. And then he goes to leave, and he's like, oh, that guy, and he grabs him, he takes him out.
Yeah, which is also dope. And then the tank, he bursts out. So.
R.I.P. Anthony, because he goes to fly out to the thing, and he should. Apparently misses every other ant, but hits except for Anthony.
Yeah, but is this it? Is this the Easter egg for this movie? Or am I missing something else?
No, you're missing it. You missed it. I knew you would miss it. What do you think that Easter egg was?
Has it already happened?
Nope. No, don't worry. I'm going to tell you because it lingers for a while. I knew you weren't going to catch it. I promise you.
I thought it was because he loses Anthony, his one wing
falls
down.
No,
you said don't think arm. So
so don't think. No, I said don't think hand.
Still.
Okay. Don't worry. It's here. Right. I knew you were going to catch it. I knew you weren't.
All right. Rip Anthony.
It's a cheat. I told you it's a cheat.
And then implosion.
Yeah, it's smart because that way it doesn't fucking explode all over the place.
Yep. And then.
Oh wait. Hold on. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, the helicopter, they get in the briefcase.
Before that, hold on, don't skip because I love this line, right? Where they yell at Luis and the group. He's like, "Hey, stop there!" He's like, "Hey, it's a tank. I can't hear you. I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta go."
And it's like, "I gotta go. It's a tank. I can't." I love that. I love the way he delivers that line. Mm-hmm. It's so good. So they're fighting in the helicopter, which they have a dumb fucking moment where they all just pull their guns out and start shooting, and they end up by hitting each other. Like,
no, it's not. It's just him because he's insane.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck. He basically shoots everybody on the
and then Scott gets distracted for a second while he's dealing with the one dude, and then Cross ends up putting the suit on in a really quick way, I guess.
Again, that's even quicker, I think.
It's even quicker. Dude, these suits apparently are like the fucking Iron Man suit with nanotech because Jesus Christ.
So they get in the briefcase, and he's like, I'm gonna disintegrate you, and then it plays the song, which is pretty cool. And this is one of the best uses of the small space, I think, in the briefcase, like them hopping off the shit, activating shit as it goes. Very cool. The coolest thing about this, right, is as we're seeing it shrunk, right, as we're seeing it from their perspective, we're having these amazing, just epic battle, right? But then you get snapped back to reality because it shows you the actual size, and the fucking briefcase falls into the water, and it's just a plop, and it's just some briefcase, but it's so good the way they do that. And so he knocks him into the bug zapper, and I
think he died.
Yeah, I was gonna say he died and got his heart restarted.
Yes, that 100%. Crazy. And I hate because Scott's like, let me explain, and then he should have shrunk and left. Instead, he's like, let me explain, and then boom, they shoot him with the fucking taser. Yeah. I hate that part.
Yeah.
Cross definitely dies.
And then we're at the house because they hear the thing on the radio, and they're like, oh, Cassie, because he goes straight there because he knows where Scott lives. Which we forgot to mention, he knows who Scott is. When he catches him, he's like, oh, yeah, Scott Lang, this guy.
Yeah. He talks about his family and everything.
Yep. So then Scott shows up there.
So they have a brutal scene in this movie And when I say brutal, it's because had it been people, it would have been much more brutal. And I noticed it this time. Never noticed it up until this point. So anyway, they go to see Cassie, and then he's there, and
they're fighting.
Yeah, they start to get to a fight, and they get shrunk down, and they have this awesome battle in like the train station. Right. But anyways, sorry, go ahead.
Well, his laser blasts, I noticed, sound like modified like versions of like the sound for like an AT-AT like blast. Like
they're very heavily modified. For sure. But anyway, so there's a part where if it was people, it'd be really brutal, right? So he has the ants attack Yellow Jacket, right? And he takes the ants and he grabs them and he lifts them as the train passes by.
And
their blood splatters like all over the fucking blocks, dude. Yep. I was like, that's kind of fucked. I was like, I didn't realize that's awesome though.
Yeah, it's weird. It's wild. And then during this fight we get Luis and the guys pull up and they're like, all right, let's get in there.
Back it up.
Back it up.
Back it up.
Back it up.
He's like, back it up. He's like, no,
back it up.
Back it up.
The only problem I have is I think there's a few of the Luis jokes and stuff in this movie that they don't know when to stop it. Like, he says
that
it
one
too
went on
many
too
times.
long. Yeah.
Like, at first I'm like, that's pretty funny, but he's like,
back
it up. Back it up. You're just going to back it up.
Yeah, and it goes on for a while.
All right, too much.
It's true. That is true.
But the core joke is funny.
Yep, and so they keep the fight on the train, and then he falls on the train tracks, and he's like, ah! And then it literally just
nothing.
And falls over. I love that.
And then he gets Cassie.
Yep.
Or he's about to, he's about to, because Paxton comes in, he's about to kill both of them, and he's like, I gotta go subatomic. No second thoughts.
Wait, before this, hold on, you did skip a couple of important things.
The big ant?
So we got the big ant.
Thomas the Tank.
Yeah, we have the big ant, and then we have Paxton shows up, and he has, like, again, no hesitation. He does what's best for Cassie because he's trying to save Cassie.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's like, I gotta go subatomic.
Subatomic, no hesitation, goes subatomic immediately. Like, and
we missed a funny part.
Because it's his daughter, it's just like that.
We missed the funny part where Paxton's going up the stairs.
Oh, and
as a giant comes down, he's
holy
like,
shit!
No, he's like, he literally looks like a girlish scream. It's so good. But yes, so he goes subatomic. He jumps in his backpack, right?
No second thoughts.
Easter egg, hand, cut off. I knew you would miss it.
Whose hand?
Yellow Jackets. So when he starts to implode, the very first thing that happens, and it lingers for a solid 4 seconds, the whole hand on his one side shrinks completely into him. Yeah, it's gone. No, it's gone completely.
Sorry.
It's gone. And then
they tried. They didn't stick it. No, they got 5 out of 6.
That one's so good. No, that one's good. That one's so good.
No, I'm not accepting that.
It's so subtle. It's subtle.
No, it doesn't
but it lingers it long enough. I'm telling you. Nah, you're just mad because you missed it. You're mad because you missed it. Yeah.
No, because I know I knew it in all the other ones. Like, it's easy to spot. Groot gets his arm cut off. Whoever else. Bucky.
This one. I'm telling you. Now that I told you. I promise you, now that I told you, and you rewatch it, you're gonna be like, how the fuck did I miss that?
No,
because the first time that I watched it,
because it's not.
I'm telling you, the first time I watched it, I was like, it is though. It doesn't matter. Groot's isn't his hand either; it's his arm.
I'm not talking about the difference between hand and arm. I mean, completely losing a limb.
He loses it. He loses it first. So when he's imploding, he's literally disappearing.
Right, but his arm limb doesn't fall off. That's
but it still disappears. Like, I know that's kind of the whole thing, but his whole arm disappears. It's a weird Easter egg. It's a weird Easter egg.
So he's in the quantum realm, and it is really dope. This is like Doctor Strange visuals before Doctor Strange, you know?
Yeah. But it's good looking. It's trippy as shit.
Yeah, but my only problem with this is I think he gets out a little bit too quick. I think it's too fast because, like, you're there and like, oh, this is so crazy, but he's just like he goes through all of it, stops. And then you have maybe 30 seconds, and he's like, "Oh, the regulator," and then he gets out. Like, they could have done a little bit more, maybe like a minute or two more, because it's just so quick. Like, he's floating through, and ends up in this final spot, and then he's like, "Oh, I can just do that," and then he goes and he's back.
Well, I think he's trying to think on it when he's shrinking the whole time. I think he's thinking. Because he is desperately looking around to see what he's desperately trying to think. You could tell he's in thought.
But it's still too quick though.
It is a little quick
for how big they set it up to be. Like, once you go in, you'll never get back out. And then
you're right.
He's out.
You're right. He's out quick. But that goes to show you how smart he is, though.
Sure.
It is supposed to be smart. That's what I mean by his smart. Definitely gets nerfed in the second.
But the fact that Hank should be smarter than him, and Hank hasn't figured that out ever. or even thought about that.
No, of course he wouldn't think about it because he hasn't been in that situation.
Well, it doesn't matter, though.
It does. It matters a lot.
Dude, if his whole life is dedicated to figuring out how to go subatomic and come back, you wouldn't think, oh, the regulator.
No, because you wouldn't think that, right? You wouldn't, because think about it for a second, right? He didn't mess with the regulator because he flat out said the problem is if you mess with the regulator, blah, blah, blah. It's not that he didn't mess with the regulator, is he was never in the situation. It's different. For you to test something out, okay, that big, that drastic, Hank is not evil. He's not going to have people test run it and then boom. Okay, he has to be in a situation.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to lose hope. He doesn't want hope to lose their other parent. He's not going to put himself in a situation where he shrinks and then, oh, cool, let me test out the regulator. Let me test out this. Oh, shit, it didn't work. Now I'm stuck here. And then the hope has no parents. He literally he was trying it without ever testing it. Scott, on the other hand, just so happened to get lucky. It's just literally, he was just like, hey,
but it was
fuck
his
it,
first
and he
thought.
just tries it. Yeah, I don't think it was his first thought because his first thought was click, 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 and the button wasn't working. That was his first thought. But it doesn't matter. He still tried it.
It took him. He goes. Click,
I know.
click, click.
I know. Oh,
the regulator.
Yeah, I know it was quick. I get it. But you got to give Hank credit. You got to give.
They could have dwelled on
more credit. Where Hank wasn't going to be able to test that out ever.
Sure. Yeah, he comes back. Love him and Cassie.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
Love that. And then.
But just so you know, Janet was literally for a fucking frame.
Yeah,
she was there.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, she's there for a frame.
Yeah.
I believe she even says his name or something.
Right.
When he's growing back up.
Yeah, and then the kiss.
Fucking hilarious, dude. She's like, why? He's like, why are you kissing me? God,
why did you do that? He's like, Scott, you're full of shit.
Yeah, he's like, hey Scott. He's like, yeah. He's like, you're full of shit. He's like, I know. Yep. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, and then he's talking to Luis, and Luis is like, dude, I got this thing that this is somebody I know. He's like, Luis, please keep the details short. He's like, no doubt.
I'll let you say it because I said the last Easter egg. So go ahead.
Wait, Easter egg. Stan Lee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is where we got our Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the fucking movie. Holy shit.
And he's like, hey, she was crazy super fine.
Yeah,
I love that's the line that they gave to Stan Lee. That's perfect. Yeah, and Falcon comes back.
Which, if people don't know, this is a setup for
Civil War.
It's literally him looking for Ant-Man for Civil War. And you know what?
It actually is also a setup for Spider-Man in Civil War because she mentions...
Oh, we have people that climb on the walls and
it's really weird because she goes, we have a guy who jumps, a guy who swings, and a guy who crawls up walls. Yeah. The guy who swings and crawls up walls are the same person.
They're the same person,
so
there's
no other guy who swings and crawls up walls.
It could be Venom. It could be...
It's not Venom. Venom doesn't even exist at this point. Okay. Assuming they're in the same universe, if they ever cross them over, he's not there yet.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But what is it? I mean, you could say Hulk.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people.
But then who's the guy who jumps? That would be Hulk, right?
That would be.
Who jumps? That's Hulk.
If you
Hulk
want to get real, there's plenty of people that jump, but
Batroc the Leaper. Anyway, I mean, he does. He's got his little jumpies. He does little jumpy kicks.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway,
so we got after credits.
And then, he's like, Luis finishes the story, and Scott's like, "What did he say?" He's like, "He said yes."
Yes. Yeah.
That's the end of this insane story. Wasp post credits.
Yep. And then of course,
like, I'm gonna be the Wasp now. Yeah. Get ready, guys.
And then, her suit is definitely not the same suit that you get in the second movie.
It's very similar though.
Similar, but it's definitely.
I love the color scheme, by the way.
I know.
Fantastic. But anyway, Civil War, straight up, just a scene.
But literally straight up a scene from Civil War. Yeah.
And it's fantastic, and it reminded me, oh shit, that's the next
Civil
movie.
Next? Baby. Ooh, that's an Avengers level threat right there. No, for real, that's that movie's huge.
I cannot fucking wait.
Yeah. Overall, I do enjoy this movie. It's better than I remember it being, but it definitely has a lot of faults. Yeah. It's not as strong as a lot of Phase 2 movies. It does beat some. But
I thought it was a really weird choice, by the way.
For it to be a follow-up after Avengers. I didn't like that.
That's not what I was going to say.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. And they started doing that often.
Yeah, and it's weird. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. It's just weird.
But I didn't... It was really weird to have the aspect ratio be, like, full. Like, every other movie is widescreen. This one's full like the Avengers. Yeah. And that also lends to it looking like a TV, like, movie. Like, it looks like a TV show. Like, it's weird. And I think that also might have a problem to be, like, with the Ant-Man scenes, like something's off about it. Like,
yeah, that probably is, honestly. Now
like,
I think
it
about
doesn't lend itself
why
to
it would
that.
look way better.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm really confused as to why they did that because it stands out. Like the Avengers, I get that there was a clear choice to do that, but this, like, why have this stand out like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's better. I'm hoping it's better than you remember.
I do love how small scale it is.
Yeah, but I remember you being like, "Oh, that movie's not that good." And I'm like, "No, this movie's probably better than you're remembering," because you said you only ever seen it the one time.
Yeah, but you put it at like 6 or something on your list. Something ridiculous. You put it at some way too high. It's
definitely not a 6.
But you put it way higher than it should have been. 100% you did. You put it somewhere. You put it above like one of the first.
Okay. Anyways, thank you for stopping by.
I'm gonna stop by your house.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah. So no. But in all seriousness, like, yeah, I still enjoy the movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
But yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be the end of the...
Well, it's not the end of the episode. We got to rank the phase. We got to rank the phase real quick.
I mean, I have it.
Right.
Do you have it?
We're gonna read out our list though.
Okay, hold on. Now I'm gonna talk about our rankings real quick.
Yes. So we're gonna rank phase 2 first, just by itself.
And then phase 1 and phase 2 in an order of...
All together, we're gonna kind of add on to that previous list that we started way back. At the, we did our before list, and now we've done our phase 1 list. So, we're kind of continuously adding on to that as we go. So you go ahead and start with your phase 2 ranking.
So my phase 2, I actually have Captain America: Winter Soldier on the top.
Okay.
Then I have Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. Then Iron Man 3.
Right.
Then Age of Ultron.
Okay.
Ant-Man, and then Thor: Dark World.
Okay.
Okay.
Pretty accurate. Mine is Winter Soldier at the top, then Iron Man 3, then Guardians, then Age of Ultron, then Ant-Man, then Thor. So it's just Iron Man and Guardians.
Because you really hold a special place with Iron Man.
Iron Man 3 is one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same, but I hold a special place with Guardians.
It's crazy, yeah.
So here's where I think our list is about to like completely change. Is the
overall phase 1 and phase 2.
Go ahead and you start this one. Go ahead and you start this one.
So I've got Winter Soldier. You know what? Actually, I've got Winter Soldier at 1. Iron Man 3 at 2.
Okay.
Avengers at 3.
Okay. Like OG Avengers?
Yes.
Okay.
First Captain America.
Okay.
At 4.
Okay.
Guardians at 5.
Okay.
Iron Man 1 at 6.
Holy shit.
Age of Ultron at 7. Iron Man 2 at 8. Ant-Man at 9. Thor 2 at 10. Why are you looking at me?
Yo, except for 1 or 2 movies, our list is almost exactly to the T the same.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you ready? Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I have Avengers.
Okay.
Okay. Then I have Guardians.
Okay.
Then Iron Man 3.
Right.
Okay. Then Captain America.
Right.
Then Iron Man. Age of Ultron.
Iron Man 2.
Okay. That's where we start to change a little bit. But Ant-Man, and then Iron Man 2, then Thor: The Dark World, then Thor 1. Yes. But our list is like really, really similar.
Yeah, surprisingly.
It's just you hold Iron Man way closer to you than I do.
I just think
love Iron Man.
I just think that movie's amazing.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's funny
because movie than most of them.
It was really hard because between Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, and Iron Man 2, I was having a hard time deciding. I was having a difficult time deciding. I couldn't think, but I finally was just like, I still enjoyed Ant-Man a lot more than I did Iron Man 2. Right. Because Iron Man 2 had way more faults than Ant-Man did, in my opinion. Like, there was a lot wrong.
I might move Iron Man 2 above Age of Ultron, but we'll see with time.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Age of Ultron was not as good as we wanted it to be.
Yeah, it's still a good movie, but
it's just not as good.
Anyway, so we've got that's all ranked, and now next time we're going to be starting into
Civil War.
Civil War, baby.
Dude, I'm actually excited. All right.
I can't wait. All right.
Thank you for tuning in, and everybody have a good one.
Thank you, guys.